How's it going, guys? Adam here from NWCarbon Haus, and in today's video, as you guys can see, we're going to be working on the 2026 BMW M5. This is the Touring Edition. As you guys saw in a previous video, we went and did a performance pickup at the BMW Performance Center down in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So as you guys can see, we're going to be starting some modifications on the car. Got a bunch of things to go ahead and put on here, but in today's video, we're going to start with basically one of the essentials when it comes to BMW, and that will be paint matched reflectors. So we've got a new partnership here with NWCarbon Haus, and our partnership is with American Panda Design, and we're gonna be installing some paint matched front bumper reflectors. So if you weren't aware, the G90 actually has 4, and the G99 has 6 reflectors. So if you wanted to change all of those, we'll have all of the details in the video description below. Everything will be on the website very, very soon if it isn't already by the time this video comes out. But we're gonna be starting here with the front. So as you guys can see, we've got these orange ones here. The Touring has 2 additional ones on the rear bumper towards the side of the rear bumper, and then the very back of the bumper has an additional 2. So like I mentioned, we've got 2 of these orange reflectors here on the front bumper. This is a US DOT requirement. So all BMWs have these, and this is one of the first modifications that I do is to paint match these, because I prefer the paint match. It just kind of blends in a little bit better versus having, a black vinyl version or, gloss black or smoke version that's gonna stick out. I prefer to have it all one color, basically disappears here with the paint of the car. And so American Panda Design is a new partner. And so we're going to be installing some of their parts on this car, and super excited to completely change the look of this front end just from doing that. And then as I mentioned, the wagon has a set here on both sides. So basically they've added one here. The sedan does not have this, I don't think. And then there is, of course, the typical rear ones here, but we're actually going to be leaving these red for now. I actually don't mind the red ones, but we've got some carbon ones that we're going to be putting on eventually for this section. But paint match there, paint match in the front. Everything will be linked in the video description below if you want to order a set. Again, these are from American Panda Design, and they will be on the NWCarbon Haus website. Once again, these are from American Panda Design. They are all going to be OEM BMW parts. So as you guys can see on the back, we've got a BMW part number here for the front and rear reflectors. They're even marked right side, left side. And as you guys can see here, paint match is absolutely phenomenal. And so basically what's going to happen when you order one of these from us at NWCarbon Haus is that we will facilitate the entire process for you. We will get these completely custom painted to your spec based on your VIN number. So American Panda uses your VIN number to make sure that they're using the appropriate parts. Order everything from BMW OEM, and then custom paints accordingly to the spec that your car is. And so when you order it, this is how it comes, nicely packaged, as you guys can see. And inside of here, we've got a little marketing pamphlet here. And we have all of the paint match reflectors for this particular car, nicely packaged inside of here. So again, we're doing the set of 4, the 2 front and 2 rear sides. And then we've got a nice little keychain here, 3D printed, super nice, high quality. As you guys can see, super cool, very, very nice. And so all of these are going to fit exactly like OEM because it is an OEM part, and the install process is very simple. I've done this on every single BMW that I've ever had, and basically it's 3M taped behind here. So it's all pre-taped, nothing to worry about, pre-painted, and you're good to go. If you are working on a G90, G99, the tools that you're going to need for this install is going to be a ratchet with a 10mm socket in order to remove the several screws back here for the wheel well. That way we can reach our hand inside of here. You'll additionally also need a heat gun. A hairdryer would work as well. And then I like to use something like this. This is just a plastic tool here to help kind of get our fingers in there and wedge it out and kind of break the tape. As you guys can see, I've used it quite a few times here, so it's done plenty of good work over the years, but something like this is super easy. Not completely necessary. You could use a flathead screwdriver, but I would be very, very careful. I would prefer to use some sort of plastic tool. You could even use a plastic trim tool just to kind of get back behind here and remove that tape. Before we get started here with the heat gun, I'm going to go ahead and remove 1, 2, 3 of these 10mm screws from the wheel well here. Again, this is just so that we can help kind of pull this wheel well back and get our hand inside of here. You do not need to remove the bumper or installing this. 10mm screw. When doing the install in the front, it's not completely necessary to remove these in order to pull the wheel back. I'm kind of learning as I go here a little bit, but as you guys can see here, when I pull this back, you really don't have a ton of access to the actual reflector here. We can actually stick our hand right through this little pocket right here. We can at least get about 2/3 of the way up, and then as long as we loosen the glue, the tape here with the heat gun, we should be able to maneuver this out no problem. But just wanted to point that out. If you needed to, you could pull these out and give yourself a little bit more flex. That way you can move this out if need be. Because if these screws were in here, you wouldn't be able to flex the bumper like that. Next up, what we're gonna work on is we're going to heat the tape that goes around the entire perimeter of the reflector. So when using the heat gun, you don't want to get too close. You don't want to bubble the paint or anything, or if you've got PPF on here, you don't want to bubble anything. So make sure you're maintaining a proper distance. But as long as you're heating that tape up, what it's going to do is kind of loosen things up and allow us to kind of pull this back, pull the bumper back, push the reflector in, and also utilize our little plastic tool here to wedge in between the bumper and the actual tape and on the reflector. So I'm going to put this on low heat here. Just gonna warm this perimeter around. All right, so I've heated this area up, and as you guys can see, I'm taking my little tool and I'm putting it in between the reflector and also the bumper and kind of pushing it at the same time. So you can see that little yellow coming through from my tool here. But basically start here on the bottom. So it'll feel like you're pushing and flexing a lot, but I promise you, nothing's gonna happen. So you can see that I've already got this bottom part out, so I need to heat up more of this tape to help release it a little bit more. So kind of working it back and forth. I can even push this in on the front here. A lot of it's going to be using your fingers and kind of prying it apart. And also breaking that tape up. Just like that. All right, so as you guys can see, with a little bit of persistence and a little bit of patience, this will come out, and heat is your friend. So I highly recommend using a heat gun. And turns out we didn't even have to remove these here on the fender. It did allow me to flex this a little bit more, which was kind of helpful. So up to you if you want to do it. It takes an extra, 1 minute to take those screws out, but as you guys can see, everything is perfect here. We do have a little bit of tape still on the back side of the bumper. So the next step would be to pull off any remnants of the tape and you can just use your fingers and kind of roll it up, get it all out of there, clean up the area, because we want to make sure it's nice and flat so that the new one will fit on here without any issues. So I'm gonna go around the entire perimeter, and this car is brand new. It's only got 18 miles on it right now, so the wheel wells and backside here is very, very clean. But you should probably still take a microfiber towel, a little bit of soap and water, or some cleaning solution in order to clean the backside here, because if you've got any dirt or debris back here, it's gonna be harder for that new tape to adhere. But again, mine's pretty new here, so I don't have any of that to worry about. So I'm just gonna stick my finger in here and work my way around and make sure this whole area is clean, which we are good to go now. So now we can go ahead and start reinstalling the new American Panda Design reflectors. And then here's a comparison of the American Panda Design paint match. Looks awesome versus the OEM orange, very, very ugly. And then if you turn it over, you can see that these are the exact same part numbers, which is what is so amazing about American Panda Design. A lot of other competitors on the market are using some other cheap version that is not an OEM part. So these are completely OEM. BMW has the stamping, has the part number. They are a complete match, which is absolutely fantastic. And again, this will indicate here whether it's left or right side. So this is the left, and we're gonna go ahead and put this on. So what I like to do when doing this is I like to pull the tape off. So it's nice that they already pre-provide all of the tape. So we're gonna pull that off. And then what I like to do is preheat this with a little bit of the heat here and kind of get things, activated in the tape. And then I'll slowly and carefully maneuver my hand through here in the back and go ahead and reinstall. All right, preheat. Go ahead and carefully put this back through here. Try not to scratch anything up here. So that's kind of why it's nice to be able to pull it back a little bit and then slide it up where it needs to go. Drop it into place, line things up. And then at this point, all we need to do is firmly press everything down against the paint. Go around through the entire perimeter, make sure it's all nice and stuck on there. And then we should be good to go there. So there you go. And then what I like to do is do a little bit of post heat as well, just to make sure everything is nice and secure. All right, and then just like that, we are complete. I can go ahead and reinstall our 3 10mm screws in the fender well, and we are good to go. All right, so this is the final outcome of the front bumper reflector. So as you guys can see, it kind of blends in with that front bumper, so you no longer have that ugly orange, kind of fades away into the paint. The paint looks phenomenal, and fitment obviously perfect because it is an OEM piece. But again, just be very careful when you're using the heat gun. Take your time, a little bit of patience and persistence, you'll get that out no problem. The passenger side front is going to be the exact same process, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that and come back to you and show you guys what it looks like. And here is a look of the passenger side, all complete, completely mounted, no issues, same story as the driver's side, fantastic fit, looks amazing. Next up are the rear reflectors. So again, this is pertaining to the G99 wagon. The sedan I don't think has this, but the sedan and the wagon do have these ones back here. So I'm actually leaving these back here, but we're going to be replacing these here. So again, this is a US DOT requirement. That's why we've got these here. If you have a European car, you won't have these. But as you guys can see, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Big red reflector there. I normally don't mind red, but I don't like the fact that it's here on the side. So that's why we're going to be replacing these, but these are a little bit more cumbersome. I believe you have to remove the wheel, peel back the wheel well, and then in order to get to the back side of the reflector. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this car up in the air, pull off the wheel, and show you guys what's next. All right, so as you guys can see, I've got the rear wheel off. If you have carbon ceramic brakes like we do here, just be very, very careful removing the wheel. This is why having a wheel hanger like this really comes in handy. But again, we went ahead and removed the wheel. So now I'm gonna use an 8mm. We're gonna remove a couple of these fender screws here. One there, one up here. So I'm gonna take you along for the ride here. As you guys can see, I did remove the entire wheel well. I think it's a little bit easier to do that, and I'll explain here in a second. I took the whole thing out just to be able to show you initially, but now that I'm actually working through it, because this is my first time working on one of these cars, is that I feel like it's easier to actually see things when you actually remove this whole panel. So I did take a series of these plastic 10mm little screw or nuts off and went all the way around. Up here in the front, there's an additional 10mm screw, but all of these mostly are holding the wheel well in. So once you get that out, you can easily pull out the wheel well. So it's sitting over here, as you guys can see. And then what I did was I came down here and looked at the bottom. Looking at the bumper here, there is actually a T20 that screws up into this hole right here. It keeps the bumper up here and attaches it to the rear quarter. So I did go ahead and remove that because I want to be able to flex this. So the problem with the rear bumper is that there is an inner layer of skin. You'll see that I've already kind of pulled it apart down here. So it was actually like this before. And basically what you need to do is peel that inner layer back. And in order to do that, you kind of have to also go here on the bottom. And so underneath here, there's a couple of screws. So there's one screw right here that I removed, also 10mm, and there's one down here that I also removed, 10mm. And so you'll see that there's these kind of clips that are holding this inner shell in. And so you kind of need to use your hands here and pry it apart. Additionally, that trim tool that I had will come in handy as well. So if you have something like this or a plastic trim tool, you can actually wedge it right in between here, just like this. You can kind of see where I've wedged it in there, and then you can split it apart, just like that. So I did that there, I did it down here, and I'm gonna do it here on this third one, and that should kind of remove, or kind of at least release this inner shell. You'll see that it's already starting to peel apart. So basically what the problem is the reflector is basically sandwiched in between the bumper and this plastic inner shell. And even by removing this wheel well section, you don't have access right here to where that reflector is. So it's actually behind this shell. So what we need to do is kind of release this, like I showed you here, loosen it up. That way we can at least get our hand back inside of here. The rest of it is going to be the same as the front bumper reflectors, where it's, you know, taped all the way around. So we're going to heat up the tape and push it through. It will fall back down on the back side here and come out here on the bottom. So it'll be enough space for us to at least get our hands up inside of here to get that reflector out. So a little bit more labor intensive than the fronts, but I think it'll be worth all of the pain. All right, so this is how I have it currently situated. Left my little tool in here just so it doesn't pop back into place, but it's enough for me to actually have a pretty good gap here all the way across. So now I can at least get my hands in here and pull that reflector down after we heat it up and get it loose. So same process as the front here. We're gonna go ahead and heat the tape with my heat gun here. So you can see I've got my hand in between the inner part there, the inner shell and the outer shell, and kind of pushing it. Already got some of it loose, but the more you heat up the tape, the easier it seems to be. So it's a tight squeeze there, but be persistent and be patient. holding this back a little bit. Give it a little push here. If it falls in, it falls in. We're not gonna keep these, so I'm not too worried about it. And if you've got another one of these, you could easily use this to help get it in here and free it up. There we go, getting it. There we go. You see that we can let that kind of drop down, just like that, and then pull it out here from the bottom. So there you go. A little more cumbersome, and then same thing, we're gonna go ahead and clean this section up. Make sure we got all of our tape remnants out of here. Clean it up with a microfiber and some cleaning solution if need be. It's a very similar process. This one obviously just takes a little bit more time because you've got to remove the wheel. Remove the wheel well, ideally. Kind of get some more stuff out of the way in order to get to these reflectors. But again, I think, especially on the wagon, the fact that the wagon has this kind of eyesore on the side, this is going to look a lot better now that it's going to be paint matched. There we go. So everything's off. Good to go, nice and clean. Go ahead and reinstall the new one. Here's a comparison with it removed versus the red and the color matched. Then once again, I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape here. I'm going to preheat and then post heat as well after the install. Carefully slide this up inside of here. Do this without scratching anything. Fortunately, this is going to PPF, so it's a good time to do this type of modification. Get my hand in here. There we go. Now line it up. Get it in there. Push it into place. There we go. If you need to, you can actually pull the bumper out, just like I just did up there on the top. So that's what it should look like, just like so. So I'm not sure if you guys saw that or not, but up here you can actually, since I removed that screw, you can actually pull this out a little bit, and that'll give you some extra space there to get your hand back inside there. But you still need to release that shell part. But there you go, there you have it. So make sure everything is lined up again. Go ahead and reinstall and push these tabs back in for the bumper. And then come back here down on the bottom and make sure that your tabs that you happen to remove from the inner shell here are all back into place. And then you can go ahead and put your 10mm screw in there, 10mm screw in there. Go ahead and start buttoning everything back up here on the wheel well, but this side is basically done. So I've got everything buttoned up. Make sure you go ahead and put that Torx T20 back in here for the bumper. And then you can go ahead and put the wheel well in. So I set that back in, and then I screwed everything in. So just FYI again, this screw here are 8mm. All of these lower ones, this one down here, this one here, these plastic screws all the way around are all going to be 10mm. Same with over here. And then this one here is the only one that is a 12 millimeter. So for some reason BMW did a 12 here, but everything else is 10s, and then these two here are 8s. So everything is all buttoned up. We can go ahead and put the wheel back on, but the color matched reflector is in there. It looks fantastic, worth the trouble. We're here on the passenger side, same exact process as the driver's side. So as you guys can see, wheel is off. I'm gonna take the arch liner out and start taking things apart. All right, so I'm taking a slightly different approach here on the passenger side. I'm leaving the wheel well in. Wanted to see if this was possible to do it, and it is. So I did remove this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and a couple of here. Basically this front, or this rear half, I removed. That way I could at least move stuff around and kind of get my hands in here. And then same as the other side, I went ahead and removed the Torx T20 from right here. I was able to pop out the bumper. You'll see right here, I popped it out. So removed this T20 right here and kind of give it a little yank. It popped out right here all along. And then I went to the bottom, like I showed you on the other side, went to the bottom side over here and undid those 3 little inner shell clips. And now I have enough slack here where I can actually get my hand back inside of here and pull this out, no problem. So I really don't need to remove the entire wheel well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first modification on the G99 M5 is complete. Paint match reflectors on the rear sides and the front bumper. The rear obviously takes a little bit longer. This is kind of a trial and error because there is no information on this car. The car is so new, no one has done this modification as far as I have seen online. But hopefully this video makes your life a little bit easier by getting to see the kind of struggles that I went through. It is actually very, very simple. I spent half as much time doing it on the passenger side as I did on the front. So there is no real need to remove the entire fender liner on the rears. And so all you need to do is take a few of them out just to kind of give yourself some room, pull that bumper back a little bit, spread that inner layer apart, and you should be fine. Additionally, if you're looking for paint match reflectors for your BMW, I will have links in the video description below. Links will take you to the NWCarbon website, and these again are from American Panda Design. So we've partnered with them and they are going to be custom painting all of these for you. Again, all OEM parts, which is amazing. There are other ones out on the market that are no longer using OEM parts, or there's some sort of 3D printed version and the paint quality just isn't great. And as you guys can tell, this looks absolutely phenomenal. So super pleased with them. It all turned out super nice. And again, links will be in the video description below. And just to show you the close up here of the rear, that red eyesore is now completely gone. It blends right in with the paint. You can barely tell that it's there. The paint match is really nice on it as well. And then moving to the front, you'll see the same thing. The ugly orange reflector is gone. Super nice, high quality. There you go. Fits like a glove, looks absolutely fantastic, matches the paint, cleans up the entire side here. Now we don't have to worry about the ugly orange or the red on the back. And now, as you guys can see, it's all one paint matched velvet blue metallic. Absolutely stunning. Stay tuned, guys. We've got some other products from American Panda Design that we're also going to be doing. And so those will be on the website very soon if they're not already. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. This is the G99 M5 Touring build. Super excited to have it here and super excited to take you guys along and show you guys what kind of parts we have and what we're going to be putting on the car. I've got a bunch of them over here. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next video.